Testing 1, 2, 3. Warning, the following video may contain adult language and themes. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you have a problem with this, stop playing this video now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You had your chance to back out. No turning back now. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I just got done watching a Australian horror movie. Off the top of my head, the only Australian horror movies I remember were Wolf Creek, which I thought was really good. This horror movie is okay. It's not bad. It's sort of like the previous one I did from France. It's not bad enough to be direct to DVD, but I don't think it's good enough to be in theaters. Or I think this one actually did really well in theaters, but I don't think it deserved to. It's called The Reef, and I believe it was released in 2010. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, I believe it was 2010. Yep, it was 2010. It currently has a 5.8 on Internet Movie Database, which may or may not be too high. I don't know. Horror movies kind of offset the ratings down. Well, the thing is, it's rather daring to make a horror movie these days based on sharks, mainly because, Jaws has the market on it, You cannot make a horror movie about sharks without comparing it to Jaws, just like you can't make a space epic without comparing it to Star Wars and Star Trek. I could probably count on my hands the number of shark horror movies I've seen. There probably are a lot out there, I just haven't seen them, but they're very, very rare. I liked Deep Blue Sea. This one, it's a while before it's supposedly based on a true story, somewhat based on it, and I don't really like it when they do that, because what they're basically trying to do is trying to make it scarier by saying that, it's somewhat based on true life events. But, there's no telling how much they fabricated. The first, it's actually kind of a realistic shark movie, though. There's kind of a long time before we actually see the sharks approach and stuff. For the first, 30 minutes, it's like a bad soap opera, kind of. And I don't mean to offend any Australian people, but the accents were kind of hard to understand at times. They're very thick. They were speaking English, though. Basically, a guy comes to a certain part of Australia with his girlfriend and his sister, and they come, I guess, on vacation to see this one guy that they know who sells boats or something. And so they go out on this boat. And this guy who sells boats, the boat seller, I'll call him because I don't remember his name, actually had a romantic relationship with the guy's sister. And so the sister comes down. There's all this drama, This they sort of rush this romantic feud between them. She comes down and they automatically start trying to generate romantic tension between the two, where they kind of still love each other, but they're not sure. And, and there's another guy named Warren. I actually remember his name. He was actually the boat hand who just, drove the boat or something. So they go out, on this boat, and it's really great scenery of Australia, and, yeah, it's just really great scenery, and it's breathtaking to look at. And so they just there's no real suspense or tension for a while. They just cruise around on their boat. Warren stays. They get to a point where they drop anchor. Warren stays on the boat. I don't want to call it a yacht. I don't know what it's called, but it's sort of a small boat. Not really small. It's a sailboat, I guess I'd call it. And everybody else gets onto this rubber raft with a motor, and they go just scuba diving. And Warren stays on the boat, and then we see more undersea, scenery that looks really nice. And they go on to a beach, And then they have a little romantic scene between the boat seller and the sister, where they have a little bit more fabricated drama that I'm just rolling my eyes at. The boat seller reminded me a lot of Tamira Morrison, or whatever the fuck his name is, that Australian who was Boba Fett. Not Boba Fett, but the pre-Boba Fett in the Star Wars trilogy. He talks like this. He reminded me a lot of him. So yeah, they have some fabricated drama, and they create their first, I think, moment of suspense where they're like, oh my god, the tide's going out, we got to get back to the boat. So they get back into the rubber raft, and they start driving out to the yacht, and they're like, oh, the boat has a leak, and there's like this intense music, and they get to the boat, and then that's it. It was just sort of a they didn't reveal whether a shark bit the rubber raft or something, and the rubber raft sunk. They didn't reveal what happened. And so then they're just cruising on their yacht, and like, no drama, no more suspense, no more, no more disasters, just casually cruising about. And then like, the boat seller's like on deck with, the sister, and he's like romanticizing it up, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go below and get something to eat, you want something? She's like, sure. So he goes down, and then he's just looking around underneath below deck, and then we hear this like crash, and we see like this reef scrape the boat, and all of a sudden, like, it's almost underwater. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, it's capsized, and everybody climbs on top of basically on the top of the bottom of the boat, because the boat's capsized, so they're on top of it, and they're like, oh shit, and basically, they're like, okay, we either need to swim towards an island, we can swim north towards, so the boat seller's like, look, we can either swim north towards an island, which will be about 12 miles, or we can wait here and starve to death, because there's a current taking us out to sea, and this thing's gonna sink. So it's basically this drama, more fabricated drama, where Warren's like, I ain't going, man, you can't make me, I'm staying here, and then the boat seller's like, no, we need to go towards, so there's no real, there's no real threat, it's mostly just the water, or the idea of them sinking, and so for the longest of time, there's no real shark threat. So Warren's like, I'm going to stay here, I'm sorry, I ain't getting in those waters, I know what's in there. And then the boat seller and everybody else in his posse is like, no, we're going to swim towards the island. So they do that, and they put on these wetsuits, and, this movie, I'm not going to describe the whole movie to you, but you know the drill. The sharks come, and they start terrorizing them, and one thing about these sharks one interesting thing, though, is that they do play by the nature's rules, because once the shark would eat someone, it basically would leave the rest of the people alone. But the shark is basically stalking these people. If it gets hungry, it'll come back, basically. So, that was pretty cool. This movie's okay. I mean, it's not bad. I guess I'm kind of spoiled, because I've seen modern-day horror movies where it's a lot more intense. I thought this movie could have been a lot more intense. I'm not going to spoil the ending. No, I'm not going to do that. You can watch it yourself. You may really like it. If you haven't seen many horror movies, you may really like this movie. It was okay. I mean, it turns out, yeah, that Warren, they never found him, and one girl ends up surviving there. Sorry, I guess I spoiled it for you. But, yeah, it was pretty intense. I mean, I guess it was more intense. You may think this movie sucks, actually. I'm probably giving this movie way too much credit, because I actually do have a fear of sharks. But who doesn't, I guess I'm not alone there. It was okay, yeah, check it out. It's called The Reef. It was made in 2010. I believe there was another shark movie that I saw that was made in Australia, that I didn't think that was as good. It was a more Hollywoodized one. I think it's one where there's like a huge tsunami or something in Australia, and it basically buries this convenience store underwater, and they have to escape, and there's sharks in there. I can't remember what it was called. God, what was that called? But anyway, and it was a lot more Hollywoodized. So, and then I think there was another one, American made, where like there were freshwater sharks, and it was a lot more Hollywoodized. Um, and it was actually people who were farming these sharks, and they were like ha, who were using the sharks to kill people. But yeah, it was okay. I would that 5.8 is probably deserved out of 10. So thanks. Check it out if you want. Okay, bye.